So what I like about a film like yours is that everybody's entitled to their day in court, but people are also entitled to being heard and listened to, which is a film that presents this in very honest and a very humane way. So congratulations on your directorial debut. You've been living technically with this film for a little while because it's an extension of the short. But we're right here in Venice, and it's just great to meet the extended material. So I'm a big nerd of DVD extras, the commentary track, if I'm a real nerd, and I was thinking of the reaction to Veerle, Selma and Guillaume when they understood that, hey, they might be revisiting the character on some level. Was it a surprise to them? Was there like this big delay, or is like, hey guys, we're sticking together because I got something else in the oven?
I think it's in between. I try to remember exactly, but it was a while ago. But the thing is, after the short film, we stayed in contact and we were friends. So it was kind of, I don't remember a big announcement like, okay, there's gonna be this thing that we're gonna make together again. But that was more, oh, you know, guys, I've been thinking about your characters again from the short film, and there's something that stick with me, and I might want to know what happened to them after. But also I remember I had a few conversations with them during the process of that research inside myself, but also all the research about the justice system and everything. And I had discussion about their character with them, because I felt like they experienced it in a different way that I had.
Yes.
So they had some kind of info for me about their character. And also, like for example with Selma, I felt like, because I get to know her a bit more after making the short film with her, and I felt like what she is in life, in real life, really influenced the character also, because she has some kind of a resilience, some kind of a dark humor also, and I felt like, oh, this is an interesting part of the character that I could imagine,
yeah.
And so suddenly it was kind of a dialogue between me writing, seeing them as friends, but also sometimes discussing and saying, you know, it would happen that way. How do you think your character will answer to that? And we had a few chit-chat about that. And at one point I was like, okay, I have a version of the script, do you want to read it? And we start talking like that. But yeah, it was kind of a smooth thing. There was not a big gap in there, an announcement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everybody put their scuba gear on together at the same time, made sure that the meter's fine, that there's air supply.
Yeah.
So you broke out with a sister.
But can I tell you, if you like the DVD bonus and everything, I can tell you something that I find interesting is the fact that when we shoot the short film, we decided that both actresses shouldn't meet, because we find it was interesting for them not knowing who was on the phone, and that could add on to the acting. So we did that, and that was kind of funny. You don't know exactly if it's
how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, but that was interesting also because it creates something a bit sacred about what we are doing. And at the end of the process, when we decide, okay, the film is done, you can meet, it was super moving. Like for me, watching them meet, because they were like looking at each other and they embrace, and that was also something that stayed with me, like for the future. I was like, I want this meeting to happen for the characters.
Fascinating.
And I felt like they were full of an emotion that wasn't theirs. Even if the film was done, they had talked on the phone for a few nights, and they were like, okay, I've been through that, and crying on the phone to each other, listening. So that was something, when they met, I felt like, okay, something is fictional, something is real also. So
yeah, it's blurring the lines there a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So I really
tapped into that.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, there were a lot of reasons why I wanted to make the feature, and not especially about this meeting, but still it was an image that stayed with me, and I was like, I want to see that at one point them.
Of course.
Meeting.
It resonates right now, just you telling it. My favorite sequence or my favorite scene is when a child and mother are in a car. They're talking about high school romances. And one person is trying to be as honest as possible. The other person is as honest as she can be. But it says so much, her response says so much about her past, her path, her raison d'être, even her vocation. And then I was thinking, okay, I was thinking of whose story was added, because the way I see your film is I see it as 3 separate stories. Who's the last one to come in? And in another film, you would extract the person that's the phone call operator. You put her in the front, or maybe she's one of the 3 passengers in the same car. But I thought that was such a fascinating choice to include her, embed her, but also give her just so much, there's so much descriptive info in that 2 or 3 sentence exchange with their son. So my question is how much of a backstory did you contemplate? Is there a lot of backstory that's not in the camera, in the screenplay, on the screen? Did you dig into her psychology from north to south to east to west, as you did with the other characters?
Yes, we did. Actually, we already did that for the short film, which is weird because in the short film she's just on the phone.
Yes, exactly.
And sending there. But Veerle is a really meticulous actor, and I like that. I like to know what my characters are eating in the morning, and that's something I'm talking with the actors. So for the short film, we decided that it was interesting for Veerle to know where this phone call is hurting her. And it helps her, and I could see it as she was acting, as we talk about that. And so when we decided to make the story goes on, we reopened what we told each other about the character. Of course, for the future we extended it, Veerle wrote an old biography of the character, so we knew everything between her and I, but in the script I don't need to tell it. I felt it wasn't necessary. What I felt was interesting, because it was a question really, should we make the operator have the same kind of background or story, or maybe some kind of
a link to what she's living on the phone?
And I was a bit torn about that at first, but I felt like after all the discussion we had with the Me Too movement and everything, what we discovered is that it's not isolated cases, unfortunately. And a lot of people suddenly were like, no, but I've been experiencing something in a level or another, and this one also, and this one also, and this one also. So I felt like, okay, this woman is taking this call and she recognized something that she knows from the inside, and so I wanted her to have some kind of a connection and her own desire to still be a part of that story, and to meet Ali and to be in the follow-up of the story. But I don't need to explain that, because I find it more interesting for the audience to project whatever they want.
Exactly, and it's interesting because it belongs to, and I don't know if it's just my cinephilia that's awoken to this, but there's a raft of films, including Saint Omer by Alice Diop, Justine Triet's Anatomy of a Fall, which this film very much belongs to this. So we're looking at crime that's not black nor white. And as a viewer, I mean, for me, there's so much matière there. There's so much, there's so much glee, because you're asking me to do the work, and we want to paint things right away, presume guilt. And what your film allows is it's a lot complicated. I was thinking of your film as a possible use as an educational device for people that arrive to a case of rape, let's say, and how to deal with that. And there's not one way to react or act about it. Even though we need procedure, we need perimeters to engage in a case.
But I think you're right. I think we are trying. It's always it would be simpler. How do you say that?
Simplistic, maybe, or simpler.
Plus simple, just
simpler.
Simpler. Sorry. It would be simpler to think. Okay, he's a monster, she's a victim, and that's the end of this discussion. Like but it's never like that. I feel it's or super rarely like that. And I went to court to watch trials in Belgium. I really document myself on that, and I was kind of surprised by the fact that it's still difficult to be heard if you're not exactly what we are.
Our idea
imagining.
of what,
yeah, the cliche of it.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, I don't want, like, that's not life. I'm a storyteller, so I know that doesn't look like life. Like, I was in trial being like, this is more than fictions. Like, those lawyers are talking about story that cannot exist, and everybody knows it, but they have to, because if they say that the woman maybe was interested in the guy, she would not be heard. So, and I felt, okay, cinema is not a place of judgment, so I can look at every aspect of it and of the nuance of it. I'm not excusing anything, but I want to create a story that can contain that complexity, that ambiguity, that humanity. This is humanity, and so yeah. I think we cannot simplify those stories. It doesn't work to address it. It doesn't.
Job well done.
But also what you said about procedure and everything. Something that kind of amazed me was when I started the research with the justice system and everything. I was a bit naive. I thought that there are clear, how can I say?
Guidelines maybe, or structure?
They were looking to repair, but that's not exactly what they are looking for. They are looking to apply the laws and to punish.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
But is it the best setup for somebody to take his responsibility and to admit? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, because if you're afraid to be punished, you're not admitting.
Yes.
We are all like that.
Yes.
It's not only those people. So if you can be understand, not excuse, but understand, if you can tell about your context, what leads you to lose your empathy and lose your capacity to see that there's a human being in front of you, that's maybe a way to start. And
yes, an honest dialogue.
yeah, so I felt, okay, this is what the system is offering to the victims, the aggressor, and also the witness in a way, even if she's a bit more outside of that storyline. And I find that sometimes we're like, okay, but she should go to the police and say what happened. It's like, yeah, but have you what is she going to have in return? Is that what she needs? And that's the question.
The victim gets re-victimized going through that process, but yet needs
Most
to
of
go
the
through
time.
that.
The people I talk with were like, the victims I talk with were like, I felt like I had to be like to cry, to be. If not, I'm not in. I'm not heard.
Without giving away the ending, I love the emotional IQ of the scene that precedes it, and also when the générique goes up, when the credits go up. Talk to me about the importance of having the film end that way without giving away the scene.
You mean
there's
the
a moment
you're talking about is behind the door?
Yes.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yes.
Because
it feels a very European choice. Like I don't want to put it in a box, but I wouldn't see this in other types of cinema.
Yeah. I think for me, what guides that in a film like that where you follow three characters, what is difficult is like you have in a way to hand every line and also finish the film. Like it's not exactly the same question that they are facing. So for Dari, the question that really occupied my mind was, okay, how does that guy tells the story to himself, and how does he tell it to somebody else, to his mother, for example, and does he believe himself? At what point the lies start? And that was my question with him. What is the confusion with him? And so I wanted to explore at what point that guy can recognize and maybe question his action. So, and what would that create? if suddenly he sees himself for what he has really done.
He looks at himself in the mirror.
Yeah, so the ending, that point for him was like, okay, what it will do, or what suddenly he finds something back, like because he did his little path.
Yes.
He went his little path, but yeah, so that was the motivation behind that scene, but also we start the story with three characters, and I think it's a question, are they going to meet again? Where? In trial? Somewhere else? And I felt it was the right way outside of institution to make them see again. Yeah.
Delphine, thank you so much for this great piece of cinema. It's Quitter la nuit. Congratulations on your directorial debut. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.